This is Ted Opitz, and this is a special edition of Ted's Take. And on February the 28th, I had the honor to attend a special delegation to Ukraine led by the Honorable John Baird, our foreign minister. This was a very important visit to the transitional government in Ukraine, and the first by a Western nation. It was important to show that Canada stands in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. People of Ukraine protested in the Maidan for months, and many had given their lives in the search for democracy. Many had given their lives in the hope of setting up this transitional government, which is inclusive of all opposition parties and the civic leaders of the Maidan. When we first arrived, our first activity was to go to the Maidan and pay our respects to the fallen. This was a very sober event and sad. When I first visited the Maidan in December, when I visited Ukraine for election monitoring, it was a very different Maidan than I saw back in December. The Maidan today is scorched. It is stained with blood in the streets, and buildings are burned, and you can see where unarmed protesters fought armed security forces, the Berkut and riot police. Riot police who used live ammunition against their own people, killing and murdering their own people in the streets. The courage of the people of the Maidan is absolutely inspiring, but the somberness and the tragedy is overwhelming when you walk the streets of the Maidan. We also visited St. Michael's Monastery that had set up an infirmary because those who were wounded in the Maidan were too afraid to go to the hospitals. Many who were wounded and had gone to the hospitals had later been kidnapped by security forces. Many people are currently still missing. We later visited with the new transitional government, Prime Minister Yatsenyuk and Speaker, and now transitional President Tuchanov, and with Yulia Tymoshenko, who has now been released from prison, however, is requiring medical treatment for her back. As well, we met with other leaders of the government and civic leadership of the Maidan. These were important bilateral meetings discussing what the next steps are going to be for the government of Ukraine in terms of working and repairing their economy, recovering the monies that were stolen by the Yanukovych regime, and now dealing with the crisis in Crimea after Russia has invaded Ukrainian territory in the Crimea with fabricated reasons that harken back to 1939, when Russia first invaded Poland under the auspices of protecting Russian minority language rights. We deplore the conduct of Russia in this, and we urge President Putin to immediately withdraw his forces back to their bases. Russia's actions threaten global peace and security, and this is an incredibly dangerous development for the world, for Europe, and for our bilateral relations with the Russians. Prime Minister Harper has led the world in our response to this crisis. We have suspended all bilateral activities with Russia. We have suspended all of our joint military activities and exercises that were upcoming, and we have condemned the actions of Prime Minister Putin. Prime Minister Harper has also laid targeted sanctions against members of the Yanukovych regime, and we were the first to put in strict travel restrictions against them. We have taken a principled stand. And Canada continues to work very hard with our EU members, especially Poland, who has done tremendous service in Ukraine's name. And we are very proud to work with them very closely. We also have an IMF delegation on the ground that is assessing how much money Ukraine is going to need to help rebuild its economy. And in concert with our allies, we will look at the report of the IMF team after March 14th, and we will decide in concert with our allies how we're going to deal with that particular economic issue. So we are working very, very hard to stand with the people of Ukraine, to give them hope, to have them know that Canada was the first to visit the transitional government, to stand on the ground, to walk the ground of the Maidan with the leaders, with the people of Ukraine, and we will continue to do that as this crisis continues. And Canada will monitor the crisis on a daily basis, and we will act accordingly. Prime Minister Harper, Foreign Minister Baird, Minister Alexander, Minister Kenney, and many other members of our cabinet who are involved in this file have done tremendous service for the people of Ukraine. We will continue to liaise and work very closely with all Ukrainian Canadians as the crisis continues. We will do all we can as a nation to help de-escalate the crisis and encourage President Putin and the Russians to return to their bases and to work very hard to reestablish global peace and security. Thank you.